already tried a simple one needle Coptic binding that I showed in one of my previous videos and are looking for the next step, this tiny notebook is a great project. Today I'll show you how to sew it using 2 needles. It may sound more complicated at first, but once you understand the rhythm, it's actually a very repetitive stitch. Hi, I'm Joanna. Welcome back to my missredfox paper art channel. It's all about bookbinding and paper crafts for beginners here. I like this method for small notebooks like these. For larger books, I usually switch to either a 1 needle Coptic binding or rather the 4 needle version. So if you've been thinking about trying the 4 needle Coptic binding, try this one first, and then you'll notice that the sewing principle for the 4 needles is exactly the same. You simply repeat the 2 needle binding with another pair of needles. So let's get started with a 2 needle Coptic binding. I've already prepared everything so we can concentrate on the sewing. The notebook is around 10.5 by 7 centimeters in landscape format. The covers are slightly larger, 10.8 by 7.3 centimeters, and I will write all these measurements in the description. I have 5 signatures, so folded pages of 4 sheets each. They are 100 GSM fine writing paper. The signatures, as you can see, have already been folded, pressed and trimmed, and the covers are finished as well. I am using waxed linen thread and 2 straight needles. I prefer these over the curved ones. And I drew my own hole template. The holes in the covers will be here on the short side at the spine, and they are 1 centimeters from the spine. And the upper and the lower holes will be about 1.5 centimeters from each long edge, and they are 4 centimeters apart. I will now punch the holes in the covers and in the signatures, and first I will draw a little arrow on my signatures here in the upper right corner, so I can know how to position it if the whole pattern turns out a bit asymmetrical. And I will erase them when I'm finished. So I have my punching cradle, and I open one signature and I put my template in the middle and punch the 2 holes with the awl. And repeat with all signatures. But if you don't have one of these punching cradles, I can show you what to do. Just open one signature and put the template inside. Take a clip to fasten it so it doesn't slip. And then close the signature slightly and punch the hole with your awl. And see that you come out at the edge here. Now for the covers. As I showed in the previous video, I have to decide which one is the front one, which one's the back one, and see that they are aligned properly, so the pattern is not upside down. But in this case it doesn't matter much because there are very little flowers and it's okay like this as well. So I've decided this one is my front cover and this one is my back cover. They're like this. So what I do, I close them together, left sides together, then clip them in place. So this will be my spine, and then I align them properly, take my template and clip it in place as well. And now I can punch those holes, and for this I can use a little sponge. Punch properly. And I can flatten the holes a bit with my awl And now we can start sewing. About the thread length. I've already cut my linen thread to the correct length now, and it's also waxed. But for Coptic bindings sewn with 2, 4, 6 or more needles, I use a formula to calculate the thread length for one pair of needles, so for one piece of thread, and you'll also find it in the video description. The formula for the thread length is 3 times A times B plus 2 times C plus 15 to 20 centimeters, where A is the distance between the two sewing stations, so two holes, in this case this one, and for me it's 4 centimeters. And use the longest distance if your notebook has different spacings between holes. So note these ones, which are 1.5 centimeters, so this one, it's 4 centimeters and it's the longest distance. B is the total number of signatures, including the covers, so I have 5 pages signatures plus 2 cover, so 7. And C is the thickness of the finished book in centimeters, so here it's roughly 1 centimeter. And the final 15 to 20 centimeters are simply a safety margin. This is the formula I've been using for years now, and if I remember correctly, I originally learned it from Jennifer from Sea Lemon, although it's been so long that I can't say for certain. But it has worked quite well for me ever since, so it's the one I use for all my multi-needle Coptic bindings, and it has always given me enough thread without running out. So once again, you'll need one piece of thread with the calculated length for every pair of needles you'll use. In this case, we are doing a 2-needle Coptic binding, so we'll need 2 needles and 1 piece of thread. I will thread the needles now at each end of my thread and see that the tails are equally long. It doesn't matter how long, but as you can see, they have more or less the same length, and this is fine. And now we can start sewing. I will begin inside the first signature. Others like to begin at the end, but I like to begin at the first signature, so I have the knots on the last one and not at the beginning. And I will start from the inside to the outside. I will pull both needles through these holes from the inside to the outside and try to pull them at the same time. So that the thread is centered between the two holes and both thread ends are the same length, more or less. And this way, this ensures that you'll have the same amount of thread to work with on each needle. The first signature is the only one which is through once, so you have one thread here. And from the second signature onwards, we'll pass both needles to both holes. So this is the beginning, and now I can attach the front cover. Attaching the front cover is probably the trickiest part of this whole binding, but once it's done, the sewing becomes much more repetitive. So I have my 2 threads here, each one with a needle, the first signature, and my front cover. And what I do, I take the first needle and I go through the hole in the cover from the outside to the inside and pull the needle. Loosely first, then repeat here, like this. And now I can pull this tight. And now it's easier to turn everything around and continue like this. So pull a bit tight, then attach the second signature, and you have the arrow here and we have the arrow here, so this goes like this. And from now on, what we'll do is to go with each needle through each hole. So this one goes inside the signature here and comes out at the second hole, and this one will go inside here and come out there. So first I go here, and come out at the second hole. And now I take the second needle and see that I don't punch through the existing thread. Go in, side a signature, this hole, and come out at the second one. So we have both threads now here. Close the signature and see that it's aligned with the first one and with the cover. You could use a clip to fasten it for a bit. And now we can pull the thread so it's not loose. I actually like to check in the first signature if my thread is still okay, the tension okay, so it's not loose. And here as well. Align the signatures properly, clip them in place. And now come the trickiest part. We can turn this around again. And I have to go with my needle through both this thread and this thread as well. But I can't do this at once because the needle is not curved. So what I do is pull the needle through this first thread, which attaches the cover. Pull, but not until the end. Leave a loop here. Then go between the signatures and pull. And now I have this loop and I form a kettle stitch, so I go with my needle through this loop and tighten everything. And I have like a little knot here which secures both the signatures and the cover. And now this section is done, so we repeat with the other one. So again, go with the needle below the thread which attaches the cover. Pull a bit, put the loop apart, put my thread apart, and now go with my needle between the signatures and to the outside. Pull everything. Then I have my loop and I form a kettle stitch. And this is attaching the first two signatures and the cover. And this was the most difficult part of this binding. Now we can turn this like here and we can attach the next signature. So again, one signature with the arrow here, so it goes like this. I go with the needle through the first hole inside the signature and to the outside through the second hole. Then with the second needle, without punching through my thread, in the signature through the second hole and out of it through the first hole. Pull the threads into the direction of the sewing. So I came from here to here with this one, so this one I pull like this, and I came from here to here with this one, so this one I pull in that direction. Not too tight because it creates too much tension and the book will like to open for itself, to spring open, but just not to have loose threads here. And from now on we'll simply repeat the same movement from every signature. And the important thing is to remember that the needles alternate. So inside the signature, the thread crosses between the two sewing stations, between the two holes. And if you open the notebook like here, you can see the crossed thread inside the fold, or yeah, here's one near the other, but you can cross it as well. And that's why every signature after the first contains both parts of the thread. Now to the spine. I can align the signature and close it with the clip so it stays in place. And for the spine, it's more or less the same as attaching the cover. I do a kettle stitch, so I don't go below this signature, the last one, but I count 2. So 1, 2, and I go below the second one with my needle from the outside to the inside. Pull a bit, then I have my loop, and I go with my needle through my loop, and I form a kettle stitch and pull it tight. And the same here between the second and the third signature, so 1, 2, and after the second, go like this, form my loop, go through the loop, and pull the knot tight. I'll show you how it looks like. You see the little knots here. And now we are done with this signature and can continue to the next one. So fourth signature, again, pay attention that it is aligned properly and in the correct direction. Go with the needle through the first hole and come out through the second hole. Repeat with the other one. Pull tight, but not too tight. Again, after the second signature, go in and out, form a loop and make your kettle stitch. And here as well, count 2 signatures, go in between the signatures and out again, form a loop and pull. Now for the last one. I won't make the kettle stitch now. This is the difference to the other signatures. The last one stays as it is for now, and I have the back cover and attach it, and then I will make the kettle stitch. And attaching the back cover works much like the front cover, but pay close attention to your thread tension here. You want it to be tight enough to hold the cover securely, but not so tight the cover snaps open when you let it go. So we have the last signature attached, but without a kettle stitch yet. I can clip it in place. Now take my back cover with the holes and go in the hole from the outside to the inside, like this. And here as well. Pull the thread, align everything properly. You can clip it for a bit in place. And now what I do is the same like with the front cover. So I have to go with my needle through this thread which holds the cover in place. So I go from the outside to the inside. and pull as tight as you can. And now make the kettle stitch. Still counting the signatures and not the cover. So 1, 2 signatures, go in and out, make the loop and go with your thread through that loop. Now repeat here. I pass my needle through this thread which attaches the cover, and pull tight, and then count 2 signatures, go in and go out, form a loop and make the kettle stitch. So we're almost done. I can remove the clip now, but we have the needles outside and we need them inside. So what you need to do is to take your needle and see that you put it through the hole in the last signature. 1, and 2, and open this carefully and pull the needle. Check that you don't have any loops or pieces of thread left here, like this. And now to finish the binding, you have the needles inside the last signature, and you can tie a so-called half-hitch knot at each sewing station. So I have one needle with 1 piece of thread, and I will attach it, I will knot it around this one. So needle below these 2 pieces of thread here, upwards and through the formed loop, there's a loop here, downwards, and pull that knot over this hole, and then the other direction. Beneath those 2, downwards, and through the loop, upwards. And the same here, upwards, form this loop, and downwards through the loop and pull the knot over the hole, and downwards and upwards, pull the knot, and you are done. So in the end you have 1 knot at each hole in the last signature. Now it is a bit of tension here, as you can see, it doesn't stay close. So what I do, I take my bone folder and press this a bit, and the book will go in the book press afterwards anyway, but just to be sure. And here is a little bit of pressure as well, so I can move it a bit around, and also I can close the holes here a bit with the tip of my bone folder so they look properly. Yes, so this is the finished notebook. Like every Coptic notebook, it opens beautifully and lies completely flat. And I have to erase my pencil markings. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You will notice that the covers still have a bit of movement, but that's perfectly normal. And again, you want the thread to be firm enough to hold everything together, but not so tight that it starts pulling on the covers. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and if you already tried the 1 needle version, I hope you'll give this method a try as well. So if you're interested in the 4 needle Coptic binding, this is a nice foundation because the sewing follows exactly the same rhythm, and we'll simply repeat it with a second thread, 2 additional needles and 2 additional holes. I will show the 4-needle Coptic binding in my next video, so stay tuned. Thank you so much for watching and let me know in the comments if you have any questions. Feel free to like and subscribe if you like this tutorial and stay tuned for more bookbinding videos. Happy crafting!